What up, VC? Welcome to episode 1 of Spin Cycle. So, been making videos for 3 years now, and mostly vinyl updates. Done about almost 100 vinyl updates and a few other videos, so figured it was time to start a new series, something I've been thinking about for a while. And basically it's what's been on my turntable, recent spins, vinyl stack, listening stack, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it Spin Cycle. I guess I came up with the name when I was cleaning a bunch of records, and you know, I was spinning records, I was cleaning them, so I was thinking cleaning, and Spin Cycle came to me. And I figured it makes sense for what I want to do, because sometimes it'll be you know, a specific label that I'll share some records from, or a specific artist, and then sometimes, probably most of the time, it'll just be a bunch of random pulls. I'm going to try to keep the videos a bit shorter than the recent finds videos, where, you know, go on quite some time, which means it'll be just a few records, you know. Try to do it on a more regular basis, because I know when I do the recent finds, it's, you know, sometimes many months between videos. So I'll try to get on camera a bit more regularly and see, you know how life goes. Anyway, so today is, I got 4 records, they're all on Muse. And while doing this, I enjoyed listening to all these records, don't get me wrong, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna pick a few records from Muse, because the first one that I listened to for it was Muse, and then I realized, I'm like, I kind of wanted to bounce all over. But anyway, I stuck with it. I got 4 on Muse for you, all different records, obviously, but different sounding. Muse is the label that I love. Has some really solid records. Not all of them. I mean, no label is all solid, but there's no Muse records that are like hundreds of dollars, but you know, they should, because they're on Muse. A lot of them can be had for, you know, 20, 30, 40. There's definitely some that are a bit more expensive, but on average, they're affordable. It's an affordable label, and usually of high quality. There's the style that I'm gonna show, which is what I'm into, and then there's some more straight sessions on Muse as well. Started by Joe Fields, 1972, after Cobblestone. I don't really know what happened there, why he switched to from Cobblestone to Muse. He worked for Prestige in the 60s, I think as an A&R, but I'm not sure. And so yeah, he started Cobblestone, and there's way fewer releases on Cobblestone compared to Muse, which went on into the 80s, from the early 70s to the 80s. So the first record is Dom Romeo. That's not what's spinning, that's the next one I'll get to. So this is Spirit of the Times from 1974. He's a Brazilian percussionist, played with Weather Report, and very different types of songs on here. The first one, Shake, Jinga Jinju, is kind of just percussion, bass, and vocals, kind of like a chanting almost. And then there's some like really kind of heavy grooves on here, Wait on the Corner. Then there's some really kind of beautiful songs, such as The Angels and Salvation Army. The energy's not as hard driving, let's say. And in terms of musicians on here, I don't know most of them. I do know Lloyd McNeil on flute, but I can't say that, you know, when I listen to this record, that Lloyd McNeil on flute is what jumps out at me. Joe Beck on electric guitar. There are 2 guitarists on here, so I can't tell you who's playing when. Actually, there's 3 guitarists on here. But Joe Beck's the only one, I think, on electric, so quite prominent on here. Some wah-wah guitar on some of the tracks. Dom Salvador on electric piano as well as piano. So yeah, very percussion heavy record. There's another percussionist as well doing miscellaneous percussion. The bass is great on here, always kind of carrying the songs. My favorite track is probably the last one, Kitchen, which is the shortest one. But yeah, overall, a variety of different sounds and styles of songs. but all excellent. So yeah, this one's highly recommended. Dom Romeo from 1975. Liner notes by Robert Palmer. What did he, yeah, I like this. He says, it's interesting because he says, he names a few tracks and he says, are intriguingly varied, which is true, unflaggingly bright, and above all, burning examples of Afro-Brazilian urban funk. So if I were to tell you this is an Afro-Brazilian urban funk record, you know, if someone told me that, I'd be like, yes, give me that record, I want it. And you wouldn't be let down by this one. Afro-Brazilian urban funk. That's something, eh? Okay, so this is what we're listening to right now. Another percussion heavy record. So these two are similar in the sense that they're percussion heavy, but very, very different records. This one is from 3 different sessions. This is one of the early records that I discovered in the VC, thanks to people like Van, Secco Funk, Andrew, Champ Sound. And so, yeah, if you're, you know, new to watching my videos or haven't been watching vinyl community videos for the past 5 years, you may not know this record, and this is a gem in the Muse catalog. Joe Chambers on drums, and then some of the musicians throughout the different sessions on here are Cedar Walton, Richard Davis, Walter Booker, Woody Shaw, Garnet Brown, Harold Vick, George Cables, Cecil McBee. So yeah, some heavy percussion, some great bass, electric keys. I mean, this is depending on the track. Again, on this, through the different sessions, very like big variety between the sounds. But so this is I believe the title track here, but you can hear very percussion heavy stuff. What else can I tell you about this? There's one song, Gazelle Suite, which I'll play for you now, but this sounds like, to me, like it should be on Illmatic, or that it's from Illmatic. So it's just with the piano, it's just like very dark, ominous, grimy. It sounds like a hip-hop beat out of New York from the 90s. So I'll move this over. Like, does that not sound like, I mean, what's the sample on Joe Chambers' record? It was sampled for Illmatic for New York State of Mind, I believe. And this kind of sounds similar to that. But it's a different track. But listen to this. It's just like heavy drums, grimy. So yeah, you need this record. Just bring that back so it doesn't end. This is the second track, Early Minor, which is this is the group of Woody Shaw, Harold Vick, Cecil McBee. It's just a beautiful song with, I believe it's it's Harold Vick playing the flute. So the next record is Carlos Garnett, Journey to Enlightenment, and it's a crazy cover, beautiful, like all types of colors, psychedelic. This one also has a Latin feel, with kind of the congas coming through. Really gives it that Latin feel, but this is from 1974. This is, I believe, Carlos Garnett's first record under his own name, but he played with, I mean, I'm sure he played with a whole bunch of people. I think Cannonball Adderley, yeah. Anyway, so the music, it's to me very spiritual. Like the title track, there's vocals on a bunch of tracks, which I know isn't for everyone, but in this style it works really well. They're long tracks. There's once again, I don't know most of these musicians. I don't know any other than Carlos Garnett. This track, Caribbean Sun, sounds just like that, Caribbean Sun. It's probably my least favorite track on this record. But the other songs, Journey to Enlightenment, Love Flower, Chana, Let Us Go to Higher Heights. It's just a very uplifting record. This is like everything I want in a jazz record. For me, it's like Latin spiritual jazz, or spiritual Latin jazz, however you want to call it, with like a really kind of funky groove as well, the bass in the back just driving the record. So yeah, can't say enough about this. This is, I don't think I'll ever get sick of listening to this record. I could just spin it over and over again, I think, and just like it more and more. So yeah, I have some other Carlos Garnett that I haven't listened to in a while, so I'm curious now to go back and see how what I think about those, because I love them, and I know I still will love them, but I know this, some people's favorite is this one. This is still Joe Chambers we're listening to, and it's absolutely beautiful. So the last one, the last Muse record for the first edition of Spin Cycle is Motherland. And this is The Visitors, Earl and Carl Grubb. So this is from 1975. This is their last record, Brothers. And amazing cover, look at this artwork, crazy. This is some deep music. So you have Joe Bonner as well on here on piano. I don't know John Lee on bass or Victor Lewis on drums. But yeah, so Earl Grubbs plays soprano sax and Carl Grubbs plays alto sax. They each take turns on piano on 2 different tracks, which is interesting. So yeah, this is just a beautiful spiritual jazz record. Body and Soul they do on here, and if I didn't know what I was listening to and I just put it on, it sounds to me like Coltrane. And actually in the back of the record here, the Grubbs brothers with John Coltrane and friends, there's a picture of them, which is, interestingly enough, I don't know what the history is there. I guess they're really young there, but yeah, beautiful record. I think I'm missing one of theirs now on Muse, or is it on Cobblestone? Either way, this I got in a trade with a VC member who was kind enough to hook me up with this copy, which I really, really appreciate. So yeah, some great hypnotic, meditative, modal jazz on Muse. So that's it. Those are the 4 records, and that's it for the first installment in Spin Cycle. So looking forward to getting back, listening to a bunch of records and sharing with you guys. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Channel's Needle Groove. My name's Kieran. Peace.